anyway?
All weekend.
Learn to work together, or I can't give either one of you a passing grade.
Get in the back and let your friend right up front.
Not my friend.
Take Edmar out Mocha. We'll show him why we're serious about our bike.
After today, I feel like I'm part Hawaiian.
Basta, huwag mo kami ipagkapalit sa mga Hawaiian.
Ipagbalik na ako kay Ira.
Ano?
Just do your thing and I'll do mine.
I don't want to.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for My Partner, available on major streaming VOD platforms on September 24th. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. Joining me to talk all things My Partner is the writer, Lance D. Collins. How are you, sir?
Great. Aloha.
Aloha. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for bringing some of that Hawaii spirit my way here on the East Coast. I love it. I miss Hawaii. It's been, think about 3 years since I was last there. So I love the Hawaii spirit, the aloha spirit. Thank you so much. Let's talk about this project. We just showed the trailer. Wow. I read a lot about after I saw the film. And then, here we have the trailer that now is going to bring more people to the project. There's so many things going on with this film. We see an area that now, unfortunately, is no longer there. But I was reading on the website, this film was also done with the Pono process. I just love how this film was made because you don't see a lot of that authenticity brought to something, and also tackles so many different subjects and also gives that representation that is so sorely needed. How did this project come your way? Because it had to start with an idea and a story. And all of that. Can you tell me, were you already friends with Kalai Grace when you kind of came up with this? And I'm sorry if I'm brutalizing the director's name. My apologies.
Pili, it's fine. No. Yeah. So yeah, we had done some other music related project together. And I was actually part of a group that got some grants to do a slice of life web series about West Maui, like living in West Maui, the issues that are, involving West Maui. And we kept losing writers. The first writer just ghosted. The second writer ghosted. The third writer, the last writer said, "Oh yeah, I'm almost done." I said, "Well, can you send me the first couple pages?" And then he disappeared. And we were going to lose the grant because the deadline was coming to have a final script. And so I ended up writing it. And so, yeah, that's how my role switched from being a producer to being the writer, which was not originally part of the plan. And actually, when I first wrote it, the Filipino kids were supposed to speak Ilocano because that, was the predominant language of Filipinos in Hawaii until very recently. But we had a problem with the casting because even I actually taught in the Ilocano language program for a really short while. And we couldn't get anybody to apply for casting. I think they thought they were being casted for soft porn or something. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but anyways, so nobody applied, and Kali'i put some significant pressure on me to agree to change it to Tagalog, which I did after a couple of weeks. And as soon as we did that, he got almost 700 responses. It was it was amazing, the shift. And so it ended up being in Tagalog, but the original script was the Filipino guys were speaking in Ilocano. And so actually in the movie, there are still a few traces of that. Because there's I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this on radio, but it's a Okininam is there, and then of course that one of those was retained, and there's a couple of other little mentions of Ilocano, but yeah, mostly it's in Tagalog. The Tagalog part is in Tagalog.
I gotta say, as a Filipino, that was one of the biggest things I noticed because, I'm a proud Filipino. If you're Filipino, you're very proud and you want to see culture represented. So, yeah, I was curious is the writer Filipino? Is Lance Collins Filipino? All of that. So you're Filipino born and raised, and came to?
No, I'm from Hawaii, but no, my mother's from the Philippines, and I've actually spent about 4 years of my adult life in the Philippines. I still maintain very close connections with my family there, and of course, my in-laws are also Filipino, and I maintain strong connections with them too. So yeah, I am, and my PhD is in Philippine studies, and my scholarly work is partly in Philippine studies, Philippine history. So Yeah,
my
I do that
gosh.
as one of the things I do is that, and so I was able to use all of that to help write this story, and so that it would be authentic and it would be true representation. I mean, I think one of the wonderful things that I've experienced by watching this with so many audiences, especially in different parts of the world, is when the characters say things like, well, the bad words, I won't say them again, but the bad words in Ilocano and Tagalog, people will laugh in the audience if they're Filipino. It's like a universal phenomenon. And so it's very easy anywhere in the world to find out who in the audience is Filipino because only Filipinos react to the swear words. And
I love
it's
it.
it's a great thing. Yeah.
I love it. You know, because we have just immense pride when we see or find ourselves and find other Filipinos. Just so much pride. I love that. I'm gonna have to see if you're available another time because I also do a show pal show, which is my Filipino centric show to highlight our just our love everywhere and what we're doing everywhere. So got to talk to you again to see if you're available,
Sure.
Lance. But my partner, okay.
Yeah.
I was so curious. So I was like, that was the one big thing I got to get out of the way there. All right.
Yeah. And many people ask.
So back to the story. So boys love. So you where did the germ of the idea start? I kind of asked this question earlier, but like in its root. So okay, you have this grant. You and the director, you found some people, but why did you know you wanted to tell this specific story and the boys love genre and all of that? Like, so where did that come from? So like you have a grant, we have a project we want to do, but to come to this point with my partner.
Right. So the other writers were not going to be writing a boys' love story. That's actually because I'm the one that wrote it. And I actually didn't really know very much about boys' love before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, I kind of got swept up in the zeitgeist of because there's like suddenly this huge explosion of boys' love content in Asia, not so much in Japan, but basically everywhere else. And so I'm very fascinated by the way that boys' love describes sexuality and masculinity and gender relations in a non-Western way. And so I was very fascinated by it. And it's like, oh, this is a way to talk about sexuality issues in the Hawaii context, but to look at it not from this Western LGBT framework of the individualism and ideology of self-identity or whatever, and instead from this non-Western perspective, where basically many of the tropes of Western LGBT storytelling are completely absent, right? Nobody says that they're gay in the film. Nobody has like some huge conflict about their gay identity. And instead, the issues are primarily adjusting to friend groups and family.
I love that because it's what reality also is, and also having family that live there. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been to Hawaii because I have family there. Is just I know these people. I can relate to them. There's so much authenticity, which is just so beautiful to see. And now that it's going to reach a wider audience on September 24th, y'all, again, all video streaming platforms, it's going to be amazing. And I just love it. So let's talk about some of these things you bring up with you being the historian. And I love that they got somebody like you that knows all of this. And you could see it. It's imbued in every scene in this film is just, of Howleys. I know I'm going to mess up because I'm not from Hawaii, but like how people come to the area and aren't taking care and preserving. Just all these various cultural elements are so sprinkled there throughout that I just love it. And not only with that representation, how hard for it was you? So like you decide on the project and mining that, but knowing that you wanted to put that in there as part of this, Pono process as well, that you're acclimating to as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things historically that the plantations, the sugar plantations and the pineapple plantations, one of the ways that they controlled labor was to exacerbate racial animosity, racial hatred between workers. And for a very long time, it was very successful in keeping basically the workers down and keeping them in their place. But when Filipinos and Japanese in particular were able to overcome the racial hatred and antagonisms that the plantations really sort of exacerbated, they were able to come together and basically get better working conditions, get better wages, and all that sort of stuff. And there's actually this whole part of Hawaii's story about the working class being able to come together and being able to accomplish anything that they wanted to. Of course, sort of creating a middle class life for their family ended up being the end result for Hawaii's story, at least as of now. But our story is trying to point in that direction, that although people come from different backgrounds, that ultimately, if people work together, they can really, accomplish saving the world, conquering the world, whatever. So that was part of the intention, was to basically show these two different groups that before the pandemic, mostly, there had been some pretty high public conflicts between Hawaiians and the Filipino community over resource conflicts, which are shown in the movie. And the way that this one happens to be resolved is that they basically come to learn more about each other, and in that process discovered that they're interested in each other more than just like, oh, you have an interesting life.
Wonderful. I love how you put all of that together, inspired by historical context, things that we already know, but then you tie in this amazing love story right in there. It's I'm forgetting the play that was like set in New York, that to me is also, it kind of like feels in a lot of different ways, where you have just two different.
Oh, West Side Story.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. This is the Hawaiian West Side Story. I love it. So putting all that together, but also it reads like you've been in these relationships, like it's so authentic in how we just go back and forth with love and relationships and all of that. Was there anything inspired from real life situations for yourself?
So everything in that story, I can point to somewhere where it happened to me or one of my friends, except for the moment where in the beginning where Haku starts fantasizing about Miss Thomas. That's from Kaylee's life. She added that in. That wasn't part of any of the scripts. But other than that, everything else in the storyline didn't happen to be in a chronological order as one person, but it's basically it's something that I either personally experienced or like a friend of mine experienced. So I can point to something in my life somewhere. If you go to any minute in the movie, I could tell you. So yeah, it's all based on personal experience or personal observation.
I love that. I'm as a writer myself, to me, the best material always comes from real lived experiences. And so it's amazing and great work. So working then with the director, you turn over you put the script together. It's now in the hands of somebody else. We're sharing this baby. What was it like seeing this project come to life when they cast these amazing actors who did phenomenal jobs, everybody else, and this whole Pono process to go along with that? How are you tied to that, since you're just the writer and now you've got to watch everybody else bring this baby to life with you?
Right. Well, fortunately, because I also had a producer role, I got to be more involved than I think if I were just the writer. So that was one benefit. And then the other, I think, is that both the crew, which are all really well seasoned, they're all involved in Hawaii's film and video industry. Both the crew and the cast all really were into the project, and they all really clicked well and everything. So people were like showing up before the call times just to hang out, and people would stay late. And yeah, it really had this really great vibe where people were just like interested in each other and interested in the project. And I think that helped move things along very easily, because I actually have been in part of projects where like all the crew members hate each other, and it's like, it's just a job. And it's like by the end of it, you're exhausted. And at the end of this, it was like everybody wanted to keep filming stuff. I mean, it was like everybody and it was a wonderful, that experience, I think, more than anything else, was like, yeah, this is great. And I think I've made lifelong friends from the cast and crew because of it. And yeah, I mean, that was a little bit of a surprise, because my previous experiences with larger film productions has been that things are either fragmented, or you get the thing where people all know each other and don't like each other. And we didn't have any of that going on on our set and with our cast and crew.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. I'm with you. I love my set families, but yes, there are those instances where your set family, let's go on to the next project.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. I just had a thing I was going to ask you, but then I lost it. I'm looking at my notes now. This is what I wanted to talk about. Lahaina. Sad to like bring it down, but then I think Lahaina is now going to live on through my partner, because you were able to get all that in there. What was that like when you filmed this? This was obviously before what happened, and now post Lahaina. What are the vibes of the team, the cast, the crew? that now, at least in some small fashion, Lahaina will live on through my partner?
Yeah, so I'm from Maui, and most of my work has been in West Maui, and the fire was crushing. It displaced over 10,000 people, 2,000 homes were burnt down, and Lahaina, relative to the rest of Hawaii, 40% of the population is foreign born. 40% of the population, English is not the first language in the family. And so, and then of course also Lahaina is a large Hawaiian population as well, and is the site of historic Hawaii, Kingdom of Hawaii. So yeah, so when it burned down, it was crushing, and Kaylee and I had to have a talk because we were like in the middle of we had all these festivals that were coming up, and it's like, well, do we pull it? What do we do? And we talked about it, and we talked with some folks that live in West Maui that were evacuees or displaced people. And we all agreed that this is that it's important to not pull it, so that we can basically allow people to have the visual experience of being able to remember the happy memories, so that when they rebuild their lives, when they rebuild their community, that what they have is a happy memory of somebody's story that they can basically help put their own memories too. It's basically a map for them to look a snapshot of a previous map and be like, okay, this is, we're going to rebuild. So we decided not to pull it, but instead to use it. And, at festivals, we would talk about what was going on, and, encouraged people to support the community in whatever way they could. So yeah, so we didn't do it. And I mean, the people of Lahaina are still trying to, rebuild, but nothing's been rebuilt yet. It's the debris from the residential homes has all been removed now, but it's basically a huge vacant area with the commercial areas still burnt out, and people in Lahaina are still trying to rebuild.
Wow. Yeah. Hate to bring the level down, but I'm an empath. Like I think this film is so wonderful in what you guys accomplished and bringing the representation there, the historical nature of it there. Just everything is just so good. And then you captured this amazing area, and then who knew that what would happen happened, and now it's it at least is a symbol for that. And yeah,
I mean,
this
I should
empath
say
energy in me is just like, wow.
Yeah, I would say that when the grant was to show a slice of life of West Maui, but the focus was supposed to be on the people and the interactions, and then it turned out, with nobody really knowing, that actually we're showcasing the physical landscape of West Maui, which was not. I mean, obviously we wanted to be in West Maui and it was going to be place-based, but it wasn't. I mean, we were thinking of what the slice of life we were trying to show was the human part of it, not specifically the landscape material foundation of it. And it turned out that ended up, I think, taking on a significance that nobody had expected or intended.
Well, I think you accomplished all the tasks. I think you did a great job. Shout out to you and everyone on the team, Lance. Again, I love this film. Let me remind everybody, it's available on major streaming VOD platforms beginning September 24th. What are the vibes with you right now? So, this film was, is now reaching a wider audience, but you've had time to sit with it. It's been out for a while. Where are you taking this energy to another project, if we can throw some love there, and just how are you and everyone feeling with it reaching a wider audience at the moment?
Well, I think everybody's really excited. I mean, it's shown at film festivals around the world, but it's very small audiences compared to people being able to download it from their home. So everybody's very excited about that. I did tell the universe that I would make up for the fact that we removed Ilocano as the language. And so actually in June, I shot a Ilocano language BL web series with Jade Castro, the director, in Ilocos. And hopefully that's going to be coming out sometime early next year. It does also have a Hawaii sugar plantation twist to the whole thing, but it's based in the Philippines. So yeah, that's hopefully the next thing that will come out if we can ever get out of post-production. But yeah, for my partner, I mean, I'm very hopeful that a large group of people who might not be so familiar with how people live in Hawaii or in West Maui in particular will get a new sense of how it is and understand the complexity, the beauty, the complexity, and the difficulties that our people experience.
I love that. Lance, a pleasure and an honor to chat with you. I want to thank you for all of what you're doing, because a lot of us that, you know, have family in Hawaii and you know everything that Hawaii has gone through in throughout the centuries, that energy that you're doing with your work, not only with this film, but also in studies and all of that I was reading about, amazing. And when you see people doing the great work, you got to thank them. And so I want to thank you, Lance. And when that other project series comes out, like I said, I have Show Pal Show, where I feature my fellow Filipino creatives and talk about Filipino projects. I want to show love, give you love and light, and talk again to promote all of that work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having us.
Definitely. Everybody, Lance D. Collins, My Partner, is available on VOD platforms on September 24th. Thank you so much, Lance. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. All right, Lance, there's a cut.